Hello, boys and girls and parents. This is just a quick reminder about text features this summer and how that you can keep your brain sharp and remember what text features are and how you can use them when you're reading and you're practicing this summer on your reading skills. And this is something that I enjoy. Text features is much like features on a person. You have different color eyes, different color hair, and a book has different features when you're looking through the book. And features not only to make the book nice and enjoyable to read and look at, but also for you to be able to find things and find information. And as you are taking tests and as you are doing your assignments, you're going to have to be able to find answers to questions that are given to you on the test, on the computer, or by your teacher. And one of the things you need to do is you need to be able to use all of your text features. So I'm going to kind of give you a quick overview of text features, and then I'm going to show you a couple of books that I like to show my class that are very good examples of using text features. So look at the poster behind us. We have our little area here that tells us what our focus is, and our focus is to know how to use text features to quickly find key facts or information in a text, which is very important. Even as adults, I have to use my text features when I'm reading or when I'm teaching and getting my teacher's manuals. So this is just a poster I bought. We usually make a poster each year in the class, but this is one I used last year with my class a little bit. And some of the text features, when you look at a book, you think, oh, we have a title. This is one of the books I was telling you about, and the title of this book is Bugs. And most of the time when we're using text features, we're going to look at the title first. It's going to grab your attention, and then we're going to need to use other text features like table of contents, headings and subheadings, index, phrases, glossary, bold print, italicized or italic words. Then you're going to have, in certain books, you're going to have maps, you're going to have graphs, charts, diagrams, and tables. Now, these can be in a variety of different books, anywhere from just a book you're reading for enjoyment, or it can be in books like for science and social studies and math. You're going to see all of these text features spread out in different types of books that you read. So let's look at our book Bugs. Okay, this is a little science book, also a good informational book for reading. And the first one is table of contents. Well, you turn to your table of contents, and it is always in the front of your book. Table of contents doesn't always say table of contents. Sometimes it just says contents. So if I am really into studying about bees, I would look for bees in my table of contents, and it will tell me exactly what page to go to. Sometimes it will tell you what chapter to go to. Like if you're reading a Jeannie B. Jones book or something, it will give you the chapter and the page number. So table of contents is a very good way for you to go directly to what you're needing to read about. So if you were going to do a report or a poster or something and say, or maybe you've been grilling, barbecuing outside and the mosquitoes were bothering you and you wanted to learn a little bit more about mosquitoes, then you would go to your table of contents that is in the front of your book, and it would say mosquitoes are on page 42. So I'm going to turn over to mosquitoes on page 42. And it has all these neat text features on this page about mosquitoes. So let's look. We have right here like a diagram. This is a text feature. This diagram tells you the different parts of the mosquito. The abdomen, the wings, the thorax, the head, the antenna. So it also shows you a little picture of the tiny size of a mosquito. Then you have other like life cycles. And this life cycle has what is called a caption. This is a caption. A lot of times captions are under photos or illustrations, but captions can also be just near the photo or illustration. And this one is about the life cycle of the mosquito, and it talks about mosquitoes from eggs all the way to adulthood. So we have bold print. Bold print is a text feature. It gets our attention. Sometimes, like these are in bold print, these captions and headings and subheadings. And all of these things are meant to get your attention and help you organize your thoughts when you're reading or for when you're looking for answers about a particular subject. It also when you're comprehending and reading things, if you can have a picture of it in your mind, you're going to remember it. So if you can, like, if you're studying mosquitoes and you look at this page, you can probably close your eyes and look back and remember what part of the page you saw that on. And it also is a good study skill for you. So this is just one example about mosquitoes. So I'm going to pick up another book that I enjoy because I enjoy history, and this is an older book. It does not have our current presidents in it, but it's still a fun book to look back on the facts. So here's our title, The New Big Book of U.S. Presidents. I need to get me a new big book of U.S. presidents. But this book has a table of contents. This one doesn't just say contents, it says table of contents. And this one has them in order of how they have served in the presidency. So this is in sequence. This one is not, maybe the other ones were in alphabetical order. I wasn't really paying attention to that, but this one is in the sequence or the order that these served as president. And this one only goes through George W. Bush. But, you know, George Washington was our first president. But if we didn't know what order they served, and I give my students a little project on presidential pets, and if they wanted to look up and see, well, what pet did Gerald Ford have, then they could go to Ford as president and look on page 49. So this would give them a start to their research. So I'm going to go to page 49. And on page 49, you have President Gerald R. Ford. And it tells when he served. It tells his his Republican Party, which party that he served in. It also has a little bit about, a summary about him and his birthplace, his wife's name, his birthday, things he was kind of famous for. And it has a timeline. A timeline is like a text feature also. But you'll notice there's some colorful print and bold print. And, you know, we were looking at this over here, and when you get into math and timelines and graphs, it's important that you're able to read them. So you need to really practice text features and be able to use them as you're going through different books. So let's go to, I'm kind of skipping around, but we talked about table of contents or contents. We've talked about headings and subheadings a little. Let's go to index. Now we said, and you'll see I have front written on table of contents and contents. And on index, I had the word back written here, but it's rubbed off. But the index is found in the back of the book. So I'm going to show you, if I pick up this book, I'm going to do the one on bugs. And I go to the back of my bug book, and I kind of go backwards. You're going to find an index. And this index is going to be set up where, like if you're looking for bees, you can go to bees right here, but it's not just going to tell you, it's going to have some pages about bees, but it's also going to break it down and tell you about bumblebees, California carpenter bees, honeybees, leafcutter bees, and you can go to each page to find those specific types of bees. But the index is found in the back of the book. Then, glossary. The glossary has terms in it that you may not know. It gives you the definition or information about things that you may not know that's just in this book. Now, we get out a dictionary if we're looking up the meaning of a book the meaning of a word. I can't talk today, can I? The meaning of a word that we need to know that we're reading and we can't find it, we're going to look in a dictionary unless there's a glossary in your book. So if I'm doing ready reading and we come to a word in a story and we're just not sure what that word is, I may know what it is, but I want you to learn what that word is. Then first we're going to see if there's a glossary in the back of our book. So if there's a glossary, we're going to look up that definition, and we're not going to have to go get a big dictionary out. If it's not in the back of that book, then I'll go get the dictionary. But a glossary has the terms in it for that specific book that you're reading or studying. So this bugs book, it's not going to have anything about an elephant in it, or it's not going to have anything about growing trees in it. It's going to have just definitions that go with the bugs. So camouflage, that's something important that insects and bugs use, like on trees and all, to protect themselves. Color or pattern and on an insect's body that helps to hide it in its surroundings. Well, that's very important that we know what camouflage is, and most of us have a little knowledge about camouflage from our parents or us going hunting with your grandpa or your uncle. So you have things that you already know about camouflage. But what if you don't know very much about migration and you think, oh, migration, what is that? So you would look in your glossary if you're reading this book and you come to that word migration, and it says the movement of creatures from one area to another. Migrations are usually made to find better weather or more food. Okay, so that is like birds migrating to a warmer area during the wintertime, and then they move back to the other area. So there's a lot of things that you can learn by using your glossary. Let's see if the presidential book has a glossary. It does have a glossary, and its glossary has words like revolution, a political process in which people overthrow existing rulers. It has rules, other terms in it like cabinet. We think a cabinet, oh, that's where you store something. It's a piece of furniture. But not when it's in a book about presidents. The cabinet would be a group of people chosen by the president to advise or give advice on issues. So, words have different meanings, and that's why it's very important that you look into your glossary. I always think about italics and italicized words as words that look kind of fancy. They look like they've kind of been written sideways a little bit on a slant. When you're on the computer, you'll really notice the italicized words. And then, of course, every day in my class, it seems like we use a map. It didn't matter if we're reading a story and the story's in Europe or on another continent somewhere else. We're going to kind of point on the map and know where we are and where that place is. So it's important you're able to use maps. In math, you're going to use all of these graphs to answer questions. And then you may want to, just make a graph of what is the favorite ice cream, of the class. And the teacher makes this graph or this bar chart or something. And then you're thinking, I don't know what that means. Well, you have to learn how to read those. And sometimes you may have a test and it may give you a question, and you may go back and read everything in the story or in the book and you can't find the answer. But you have to look at the chart or at the graph, or you have to look at a caption, or even you have to just look at an illustration or a diagram, just like we looked at the mosquito diagram, to see a body part for an insect, like a mosquito. So you have to be able to know what text features are. So let's think about this again. I said that people have text features. So my text features are I have green eyes and blonde hair. You have different features. You may look like someone in your family. The features may show up and you may look similar to someone in your family. So a book has features. A book's features are what help you to find the information you need. So I hope this has helped you to kind of remind you what text features is. Another thing I want to say to parents is you start text features early and then you build on them each year. So you won't learn all of these text features in the same year. You will learn a few and it will build each year. So make sure you go back over the ones that you've already learned. I hope you have a great summer, and I hope you get to swim and fish and ride your bike and play with your cousins and your brothers and sisters and just have a relaxing summer. And I hope to see you back in August.